So one of the real values you bring as an advisor then is keeping people invested, and that would be a part of, I think, Jeff has talked about a bunch of times, as well as other leaders in our organization. They talked about it framed it as gamma, the value you bring to the planning process. Can you maybe describe a little bit better kind of what your role is in that, and then how do you differentiate, or how do you explain to your clients the difference between alpha, beta, and gamma?
Yeah, I think those are some newer terms, or maybe they've been around for a while, but there's just a lot more focus on these different aspects of everything that not just the financial planner, but the company is bringing to an investor. And I mean, alpha and beta, there's a lot of technical backing to that. And I think what has happened over the last few years is the advisor may have an awful lot of training in gamma in some of the value or the financial planning strategies that they're delivering, the tax planning, the cash flow management, risk management. But as far as, are they good at picking individual stocks? Are they good at knowing when do we transition from this fund over to this fund? Those are the things that would be the alpha and the beta, and that's really what makes up your return. Was the fund manager able to pick stocks that allowed them to outperform the index? Did the fund manager have the right asset composition, a certain amount in Canada, the US, global, fixed income? And I think one of the things we've really focused on lately in our practice is noting that there is a difference between returns and results. Like, the returns that you get in your portfolio definitely constitute part of your results, but when someone looks at their statement and sees that the rate of return they got was 6 or 7%, that doesn't count the fact that maybe there was a strategy put in place that saved them $10,000 in income tax. Or maybe there was a risk management strategy put in place that if they now become disabled or sick or somebody passes away, everything is going to be fine with their financial plan. So all of those things are incorporated in. I think the way we look at it in our practice is saying all of that is way too much work for one person to do. So if I were to look at the portfolios, we tend to use a lot of Maestro. One Maestro portfolio, here's about 20 funds that are inside there. So I could go through for my clients and say, hey, here's the portfolio I built that has 20 different funds inside it, but now you're counting on me to know exactly which fund we're going to use, and when do we increase the weighting in this one by 1%, or when Britain pulled out of the European Union in 2016 and European markets dropped for 2 days and surged for 3 days, was I able to take advantage of that for every one of the clients that I work with? Well, not if I'm responsible for rebalancing myself, but inside Maestro portfolios, if they increase their weighting in Europe by 1% during that period of time, I know that all of my clients were able to take advantage of that opportunity. I could build a portfolio using individual stocks and bonds, but I mean, if there's 20 funds in here, these are the top 10 holdings in each of those, there'd be 800, 900 different stocks and bonds to have that same level of diversification. If I'm in meetings with a client for the day and I'm not watching the stock market, how am I supposed to know when we decrease our weighting in McDonald's from 1.2% to 1.1%, or increase RBC or Apple or Pfizer? All of that stuff, what I would call the alpha and the beta, that is taken care of by the portfolio manager. So where we use Maestro portfolios a lot, Les Grober is the portfolio manager. He has technology that I don't have. He has resources that I don't have. He's got training I don't have, and time, because he and his team, that is what they do full time. So for me to think that I can construct a portfolio of funds or individual stocks and consistently outperform him, in my head, that's ludicrous. What we can do, though, is my focus, if I look at the designations that I have, CFP, FMA, TEP, most of those designations focus on the gamma. Right, so the planning that goes on around that. What are we doing to decrease the amount of tax you pay? What are we doing to make sure that when you retire, you're going to have enough cash flow that's going to last your whole life? What are we doing to make sure that, when retirement is done and your estate is settled, who's going to be the biggest beneficiary? Is it going to be the government, or is it going to be the kids or whatever charities that you want that to go to? I mean, I have one designation, I guess, that would focus on alpha and beta, but the majority of the training and whatnot and value that I bring focuses on the gamma. So the way we would run our practice is we let the managed solutions look after the alpha and the beta. We look after the gamma, which would be these areas over here: tax planning, investment planning, estate contingency, retirement, and cash flow management. And that's how we pretty much run our practice.